Monaco without walls.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Veloce Hyperz social race here in Hungary. I'm Ben Raggan McConnell, and joining me is the CRG George Martin on the YouTubes. How you doing?
Yes, living the dream. It's George Morgan, by the way.
Close, my apologies. I don't know why I said mine. I was close enough. We are here, though, in Hungary. 2.7 miles, 14 turns in total, and only really one detection zone, as there are two activation zones. It's going to be a very tough track to overtake in general anyway, but, you know, when it comes to that one detection zone, but two activations means that once you've done it on the home straight, if you haven't done it right, you can do it on the second bit, but you can also cement it further on as well. So make sure your exit coming out of the final corner is perfect, as Hyperz is going to demonstrate for you right here. So this is the home straight. The DRS wing wide open. You're going to charge all the way down and break around about the 100-meter boards and get yourself right down in the gears as quick as you can. Gear 2, if you need to, for the turn in, and then get the exit again just right, because you've got another DRS zone. It's a much shorter one this time as you come up towards turn 2. Awkward downhill left-hander. You need to make sure you get the run just right, because again, it's another hard throttle zone coming up to a very quick little chicane. It's a very slight right to a very hard left. You've got to flick that and get on the curb just right, but don't run wide, because you can not only just bin it, you can also invalidate too if you're lucky. So stay on the curbs on the exit here. Don't get it too wrong. Brake hard as you get to the start of the curbs, and then cut the chicane quite nicely. The exit is the one you want to cut more than the other. And then again, the left-hander, it's a very awkward left-right here. You want to make sure you just nicely slow down, but not too much that you lose the momentum, because you've got a very quick set of corners here. Quick right-hander. Make sure you get this again just right, because it's a little sprint towards a very slow right-hander as you break at the 100-meter board and get yourself down the gears. Coming up to the second to last corner now, a very, very slow, long, sweepy left-hander into the final corner. Remember, I said this earlier, get the exit just right here, because if you can, you'll get the exit of dreams, which will allow you to get into the toe, allow you to get the DRS wing wide open, and use that overtake button to its fullest. Right, we are now going into the game, and I'm going to do what I do to everybody when I commentate with them. I'm going to chuck you under the bus and ask you, just chuck me a top 3 prediction.
Raggy, I've got it nailed for you. I've got it sussed. Absolutely sussed. I know exactly what's going to happen. And this is my prediction. It's going to be a Jarno Opmeer P1, without a doubt. The man has got talent. He's got pedigree. He's the man with speed here in this social event. I reckon as well we're going to be seeing Simon Vigang at the top step. And don't write off the man that is Tomek Paradzis. He'll be P3.
I actually think you couldn't be any more on the point there if you tried. It's a very awkward sort of prediction to get. I mean, Jarno is, in my opinion, the fastest of all of them, like you said. I think Hyperz is faster than Simon, though, so I'm going to go with Tomek P2, Simon P3.
It's only about. I mean, I got to say, should I say, a little bit biased. Obviously, Simon Vigang. I watched him race in ORL last season. He was almost unfortunate, I've got to say. The main reason being, obviously, he had to deal with the likes of Jarno Opmeer and Badia Buramand as well. Those two pretty much led the way from start to finish right through the championship. It was an ongoing battle. Obviously, we saw Badia Buramand leave the league. Jarno Opmeer took the title, and coming in behind was obviously Simon Vigang, who actually, on many of the races, finished P3. If it hadn't been for those two drivers, it would have been a non-stop P1 fetish, I've got to say. He'll be here today now, battling amongst Jarno Opmeer, no doubt, for the top spot. I can't see Pargiano for the win, but surely Tomek Paradzis, after a very, very good spell of recent performances, I'll be seeing him up there as well, without a doubt.
Well, he's invalidated his first run, so that's not going to be on the board, but we've already seen a 1:13.094 from Jarno Opmeer, really starting to show what he's capable of and what times can be done. Bear in mind, a 1:13 was unheard of in F1 2019, and now we're seeing it very casually done in a early 4.5-minute session so far in the qualifying.
Absolutely. Obviously, Hungary, a very, very difficult track. It is Monaco, folks, without the walls. It is going to be absolute pandemonium here at the Hungaroring circuit. I literally can't wait. Obviously, Jarno Opmeer providing us with the top-notch spot qualifying lap of a 1:13.094. But obviously, there's still a long way to go. No way near squeaky bum time here at Hungary. And we still yet to see anything from Tomek. And as you say, after that invalidation, Simon Vigang, though, yet to join the party. And we got many other talented drivers. Kamil Koman being one of them, Kruzic, as well as the likes of Triton Matthias. Names I've seen in recent and various social racing events. It's certainly going to be a corker, Raggy.
It really is. I've just had to turn you up because apparently you're a bit quiet on my end. I mean, you're deafening for me, so I'll just have to let my ears bleed. Crew 6 is currently out there as well trying to get a hot lap in, but I'm amazed by how many people are actually invalidating. It is a very tough circuit to get right, and I think turn 6 or turn 5, the quick left-hander, is going to be the main crux of it. When you clip that curb just a bit too much, it's so easy to just invalidate, and that can be the end of your qualifying.
Certainly can. These curbs riding very, very high indeed. It's not like Russia. Russia, you can pretty much attack every curb as they're so flat. Obviously, you come to a circuit like Hungary, and like I said previously, Monaco without walls, folks. You cannot tread on the curbs way too much. You take too much of it, you are going for a ride. I don't mean a good ride. I mean the ride that sends you into a metal steel barrier or either the kitty litter. And that's somewhere you do not want to be, certainly here at Hungary, where the group is going to be very tightly grouped together. Certainly the quality of drivers we have here, DRS trains will be expected. Therefore, you need to try and hold on to your position on this track.
Yeah, absolutely. Something you just can't risk. I mean, coming into the race as well, you know, this is going to be very much an ERS management circuit. Now, obviously, it's much easier in F1 2020 to manage your ERS because you've only got, really, overtake or whatever the car decides to do. But you do need to make sure you're not burning it away. Overtake does absolutely melt the battery. If you just even decide to have it on a little bit too much, you know, coming out of the corners as well, you can even spin the car very, very easily. Gear 1 and 2 are very easy to lose the back end as well. Add overtake to that. Just say goodbye to your entire race. Make sure everything is clean, otherwise you'll have major issues. Currently, there's a little bit of a train going on. It's a 3-car train, as Jarno just gets out of the way on his outlap. Interesting to see it so backed up.
Sorry, Raggy, I've just got to step in because Kruzic's just gone faster in Sector 2. He's just running the last bend. Made a slight mistake, though, which was unfortunate. He's now diving into the pit lane. I was keeping my beady eye on him, to be honest, because he looked like he was in for a quick lap, but unfortunately had to bail into the pit lane. But it did look promising. Maybe more to come from the likes of Kruzic. But like you say, it certainly is all to play for. 11.5 minutes remaining in this session. It is going to be absolutely outstanding. Cannot wait for it.
Now, somebody I've not really heard of, but just seems to have exploded onto the scene, is Lucas UK. I mean, I've just seen he's set a purple Sector 2, and he could have actually gone again and checked that time in, but he's decided to come in. I think it's because he's got low fuel. He didn't want to run out on his in-lap. But this guy just seems to have just taken over. I've seen him on the time trial leaderboards, right up at the top, set some world records in himself as well, which is just phenomenal. To be somebody that unheard of and just suddenly break out is just crazy.
Perhaps he did it on purpose, didn't want to be known, and currently, you know, be like The Rock in terms of wrestling, you know, electrify the people. And I'm sure he'll come out here today and certainly put on a show. If he can take that form from his hot laps and bring it here in terms of a race environment, then I've got to say all the power to him. He could be a contender in the midst of this field. And certainly, like I keep on saying, Hungary, very unpredictable as Camel Common spins just by the DRS line, and that was a very close call. As I'm not sure whether ghosting is activated here, but that could have been a catastrophe there amongst those cars going out of Sector 1 towards Sector 2. It's going to be interesting, and certainly I'm sure if Lucas can prove what he's shown us in terms of hot laps, he'll be up there for a fight.
Without a doubt. So we've got some people starting their hot laps as well. We've got Jana Odmir who's currently out there, and he's about to come and put one in. He is looking very fast. He set a purple Sector 1. Didn't catch his Sector 2, but Sector 3 has been looking pretty clean so far.
It is. I've got to say, Alfa Romeo fielding a very good team by the looks of it. Obviously, we've spoken about Lucas already. Jana Odmir coming across the line with a 112.717. Oh, my word, that's purple right through. The Alfa Romeo all-in team buzzing with anticipation here as their man, top of the billing, P1 Jana Odmir.
It's crazy. How can he be that quick? That is literally not human. But, well, clearly it is because he's done it. So we'll see how Rainbow's doing as he's working his way around the circuit. Ourspeed about to come to the pits as well. Freeware currently out on outlap. It's all really starting to heat up.
Certainly is. The numbers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we now see Tomek bursting past Jana Odmir heading through Sector 1, and soon he'll be in Sector 2. I've got to say, he's a man with a lot to prove. A youngster that's burst onto the esports scene, and certainly the league racing scene, has had phenomenal performances in AOR. Certainly one to watch at his very tender early age, and I'm sure he's only going to get better as he now rounds towards the next swinging right-hander, which you can take near enough full power. Dashes down to the final few bends now. 100-meter mark into 50, braking into the bend, swallowing a lot of the curve on the outset now, heading towards the swinging left. It'll be the last swinging left before he takes the final right before the home straight. You can see the pit lane on the right-hand side, the paddock daunting on the right as well, with Triton Matthews ahead of him as he comes under the Rolex banner, heading up towards the line. Tomek moves into P4, the orange McLaren at 113.997 on the medium tyres, may I add.
Yeah, that's the main crucial part there. You know, when it comes to the strategy, starting on the mediums is going to be so big for him. Yes, it's not a 112.7, but still, to be only just over a second outside of the soft times, that is phenomenal.
Absolutely amazing. I got to say, credit to him. Obviously, 112 by Jarno, still setting the trend right now, but the 113s are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. But that's what the people have come to see here. This is what drives us to watch the likes of Formula One and certainly esports. The esports times, I got to say, just as close as anything you'll see in the real world of F1, and that is why we watch it. This is why we get excited about it. And I got to say, if Tomek can nail that sort of a lap time on mediums, imagine what he can do on the softs.
Exactly. And Josh is out there as well. He's invalidated. I mean, he's currently looking like he's going to go and try again, but not a good start to say the least. Josh needs to get himself on the board. He's one of 5 drivers that have not yet done so. Bruce Six Beaker, Simon and Matthias joining him as alongside of it. And Simon's kind of the one you would have expected to have at least put a banker in by now.
Yeah, he's really leaving it to last minute, whether he's just surveying the field and just seeing how things go. I mean, I wouldn't worry about him too much. He is a man with confidence. Two Red Bull drivers, should I say, have yet to field a lap. Josh is currently out on track now, looking to set his first of the day. Currently in Sector 1, not far from Sector 2, and he's got 2 Pink Panthers in hot pursuit of him at the moment, looking to set their lap times, as we now see Josh make his way down towards the next right. Can Red Bull get a good start here? As you can see, he just cuts the corner there. Doesn't have a lot to worry about on this lap. I would say, obviously, if he's invalidated it, he can wait until the next hot lap. But Red Bull are going to need to nail something pretty soon. We're down to the final 6.5 minutes of qualifying here.
Yeah, we are nearing that. My special time, the calm before the storm. You know, majority of the drivers are sort of heading into the pits. We've got some people that are coming out to do their out laps. A bit interesting to be doing it now. You pretty much want to be in the pits if you're not already out on a lap. Just getting yourself ready for that last attempt at trying to get yourself near the top. Jan Otmi has currently set a bar so high, I don't see anyone being able to get anywhere near it. The person I thought was going to be P2 has currently decided he's going to qualify on medium tyres. Now, whether or not he's going to switch to the softs and actually try and beat that later, I'm not sure. I think he was just trying to test the waters to see how quick he can be on the mediums in comparison to these drivers. Currently, P4, that's a very, very high bar.
To be fair, though, it might be a sensible decision, certainly in terms of a strategy. This might be the one way to take advantage here at Hungary. Obviously, like we keep saying, like Monaco, remember, Monaco, track position is vital, absolutely vital, certainly in qualifying. But if he can stay out and try and retain the pace on those medium tyres, he'll be pitting later than those on the softs. Naturally, that should give him a apparent advantage into the race. We'll see how that works out for him. But if I got to say, I would not be surprised if he settles for that 5th place.
He's decided to go out again on the same set of mediums, so you know, hope this works out for him. Hopefully he can actually chuck a better time in, but a bit concerned when it comes towards the tyre wear as to what he's going to plan on do there. I'd have thought surely he was going to chuck in some times on either some softs and just invalidate, or at least to bring it back into the pits and just get a feel for the circuit. But he's decided that he's going to do another couple of laps. We'll see if that affects him later. Currently we have Rainbow coming up to the line around the final corner then. I'm not sure exactly how quick his lap times have been, but he is going to go P5, knock Tomek down into P6.
Certainly is, and still Red Bull yet to field a time. Beaker is still yet to field a time as well. He's in the pit lane. Triton Matthews just rounding the final bend before he starts his hot lap. And looking as well, Kruzic is on his out lap as well. So all the drivers who are yet to field times starting to make a move, as I just saw Kruzic there sort of losing the back end of his car, heading into the initial few bends of Sector 1. Looking further up though, like you say, the times at the top are really condensing. It looks like Andinator, now known as Andy, is now occupying P2. The Renault driver doing extremely well, 112.972, 2/10 or over 2/10 of a second, near enough 3/10, should I say, slower, should I say, than Jarno Watmir, but nonetheless, a very fast driver and could certainly pack a punch on his day.
And thinking of Andy, I remember commentating for him back in the F3 days in AOR. He was fast, don't get me wrong, he's much faster than me, but he just seems to have just jumped in terms of pace since then. I don't know if he's just been sweating the time trials, sweating practice over and over and over again to just properly get himself up to par. But he's doing it. He's delivering exactly what he needs to. And it's really good to see.
Well, he's a man with a point to prove, certainly. He won the ORL B-Split Championship last season and looking to step up once again. He has now joined the A-Split. That'll mean that he's going to be with the likes of Jarno Opmeer racing every Thursday. And I've got to say, he knows what's expected to perform at that level. And certainly, if he's nailing times like this of a 1:12, you can't count him out.
Definitely not. Here comes Hyperz then on his medium time. He has set 2 laps, is slightly faster, but it's not going to make him any different in terms of his position. He stays P7 at least for now. We do still have 3 minutes remaining of the session, so there's still plenty of time for him to either increase the pace here or maybe have somebody else knock him down a few steps.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're down to squeaky bum time, folks. Near enough 3 minutes remaining. We're under the 3-minute mark. In fact, 2 minutes 50 to be exact. And literally these drivers now yet to seal laps on the board. They're going to have to get their skates on as such and nail something good and proper here. Now this puts a lot of pressure on Simon Vigang, who I did tip before the start of qualifying to actually do something in the race today. Let's see what he can do in the dying minutes of quali as he now rounds his way into the mid part of sector 2. And very shortly he'll have to prepare himself for a real flying lap, and it's going to need to be a chunky monkey to try and fit in with the likes of Jarno Opmeer and certainly Andy applying the pressure, and certainly it's getting tighter and tighter at the top at the moment, folks, as he now rounds the second last corner. Before he starts his fast lap, the Red Bull is going to be absolutely menacing. What do you reckon he's going to post here, Raggy boy?
I mean, he's on the medium, so we're not expecting too much. I think he's going to be a little bit faster than Tomek. Tomek's decided he's coming back into the pits, so he can't improve at all now. 1:13.920 is the best he can do. I think with an evolving track and Simon's pace in general anyway, I think we're looking at around about a mid 1:13, to say the least.
I would not be surprised. He's now rounding that left-hander just after the DRS, and he's making his way through the fast curve now. Very soon he'll be taking that very quick left-righter, where you've got to almost gear down twice. Though he chooses not to do it at all, and in fact that's I believe that's an invalidation, which is really going to upset the apple cart for Simon Vigang, and indeed that only gives him one more chance to nail a fast lap.
Not only is he invalidated, so has Seb in P4. 1:13.1 is where he currently sits. Beaker's retired, so he's not going to get a time on the board at all, which is big, sad for him. But yeah, Simon's got enough time. He can definitely go again. And I think, to be honest, he's going to take this as like a warm-up for his tyres, because mediums tend to take at least a lap and a bit, and not just your out lap, but also a full lap as well, just to get them up to the perfect temperature. Usually see on the second lap they start to improve, as Josh Idawu has actually not done a very good job of that. 2 laps, both invalidated, hasn't been able to set a time at all. Red Bull not looking good going into this event.
Not at all, not even a time left on the board right now, as we now see Simon Vigang cross the line to begin his hot lap. Now this is his chance, he's got to do it now. It's now or never for the Red Bull driver, as Tomek has indeed retired from the session. No more will be met from the McLaren. He's going to be starting P7 unless Simon Vigang can do something about it, or even Josh Idawu, but we have got a few drivers out and about currently fielding lap times at the dying moments, including Jarno Opmeer, no less, as we now see Simon Vigang going around the quick left-hander, dodging through, taking the curb all he can, coming around this next swinging right, surely. Got to control the car as best you can to swallow a little bit of curb on the outset, heading down towards the chicane, just braking after the 50, managing to do it well, controlling the car beautifully, may I add, rounding this next left-hander, coming through the next right now, and just about to apply the power, want to go full blast, out of the corner now, heading around this next left. He's got yet another right-hander to deal with, a lot of corners here. I didn't say it was the wallless Monaco for nothing, as he now makes his way around this next right. He's into sector 3 proper now shortly, and as he makes his way around the left-hander, once again clinging to the asphalt as best he can on the outset, moving into almost the entrance to the pit lane, and on the outset moving around the final right-hander across the Rolex banner, the line dead ahead. He crosses it, P6 on the medium tyres, knocks Tomek down a couple of places after Bob goes P7. Phenomenal lap there from Simon Vigang, a 1:13.708.
Really good lap from him to be able to achieve what he did. A little bit slower than I expected initially, but Jan Otmey is also invalidated. So whilst he is currently our pole sitter, and I think realistically he's going to stay there, no one else is capable of beating him unless Rainbow's got something in the tank, but he's invalidated along with his teammate Overspeed. So Jan Otmey has secured pole position with a 1:12.717.
Did we expect anything less?
No.
Did we
No.
indeed? The guy's a machine. I mean, obviously, as you guys know, he's been signed by Alfa Romeo for the Esports Pro Series season, and he's certainly not there for no reason. I mean, obviously, the man packs acres of talent. He is, I got to say, he can lumberjack lap times like nobody's business, better than any Scotsman I know that chops wood. And I got to say, P1 for the man in the red machine, and certainly the apprentice to Ferrari, but it won't be an apprentice this time. It's going to be Jarno Opmeer City here, folks. Let's see how he gets on for the start of the Grand Prix. I got to say, I'm very excited.
I mean, the strategy thing is what makes it so much more exciting than I expected it to be. We've got so many drivers on a variance here. You got the top 5 all on softs. You got Simon then breaking that little trend there by going his P6 on the mediums. Yes, he's done 2 laps, but it's not really going to be that big a deal for him. Then you got obviously Bob, who's in P7, along with Gillen in P8, both on the softs again. And then immediately you've got both the McLarens that round out that top 10 on the medium tyres. The strategy is going to be tremendous here, but it's all looking towards Simon Weigandt.
It is, and I'm really intrigued to see how it pays off. I mean, obviously, he knows that he's up into, well, he's got a test on his hands, certainly. He's very much aware of the pace of Jarno Opmeer and certainly a few others on this circuit. Naturally, he thinks, well, I may not be able to beat them in terms of raw pace, but maybe I can outwit them. Maybe I can out-strategize them. And maybe these medium tyres are the answer into him accruing himself a positive result here at Hungary. It certainly is the right track to make that sort of a move. So I'm really intrigued to see what that man can do.
We are just waiting for Lucas to retire from the session so we can move on into the race. Obviously, it's a 50% race, so it's half the distance of a full race here in Hungary. I'm not sure exactly how many laps it's going to be, but regardless, it's going to be a sweat fest around the circuit. It's a very difficult overtaking circuit, so don't expect to be seeing very much of that at all. But here is your rundown at the end of quali. Here's Jarno Opmeer, as we expected, in P1 with a 1:12.717. And then surprisingly, Joe, actually really, really close to him. Less than a tenth separating the two. Puts Joe in P2. Andy, P3. Seb, P4. Rainbow, P5. And then we've got Simon on the mediums in P6. Bob and Alex Gillen in 7th and 8th with Tomic and Camille rounding out the top 10 on the medium tyres. And now this is where the strategy starts to fall away because they could choose whatever they want coming into this as Freeware gets best of the rest. Overspeed P12, Matthias P13, Crucix P14, Iceman 15th, Lucas in 16th, Beaker in 17th, and Josh in 18th place. Now, interestingly, the last two didn't get a time on the board because they invalidated so many times. I'm expecting to see a lot of penalties from these drivers today.
Could well do. I've got to say, Hungary, very tricky to negotiate round. Certainly the corners, very tricky as well. Certainly, if you swallow too much of them, it could cost you. That's plain and simple. You know, time penalties are rich around Hungary. You need to ensure that you have good racecraft, good control of your car. Try and, cruise your way around some of these bends as efficiently, but as carefully as possible in order to maximize your opportunities, certainly at Hungary. And I got to say, you won't get any better drivers than what we're going to be seeing here on this track mastermind their way around a circuit like this. But do not be surprised if you see some penalties being notched on this track here today.
Now the driver's currently on the grid already, thinking about the strategy, thinking about any sort of fuel loads that they want to take with them, and those outside the top 10 get to work out what tyres they want to start on and what they want to change to later. So bear that in mind that those that are outside of it can choose to go into the hards if they wanted to off the start. And that might be an option because, like you said earlier, the track position is key when it comes to this circuit. It's very Monaco-esque. You need to make sure that you are holding your place down on the circuit, but more concerned about the final corner. That run in towards turn 1 is a very long one with DRS, and now with the overtake button, which is supreme when it comes to these sorts of overtaking opportunities. You need to make sure everything is perfect.
It's a real test, though. I mean, that overtake button, like you said earlier, saps the energy out of the car. But don't forget as well, even without the overtake button on the car, you've still got the car producing power, and therefore it does still need the energy. So regardless of whether you turn that overtake mode off, you're still going to be sapping it. So it's going to really make the drivers think and really be cautious about when they use the overtake button. Maybe even only use it, say, 5% a race in order to maximize the usage of it. It certainly is going to test the membranes of a lot of these drivers. And I hope they have what it takes, because I've got to say, it could be the difference between a P1 or say a P18.
Yeah, absolutely. We did just see a graphic that explained the pit stop strategy. Sorry, softs, hards if you want to do a one stop, which is probably the more ideal one because if doing a 2-stop strategy, you've really got to try and undo the amount of time you'd spent in the pit. So softs, mediums is what the recommended strategy is if you're going to attempt that. I think it's doable. I think it's definitely doable. It's just, I don't know, softs, mediums is great, but you can't overtake. So again, it's realistically a one-stop strategy regardless. I'm just curious as to those that are on the mediums right now, what are they going to do? Are they going to go for mediums, softs? That doesn't sound like it'd be the right strategy to me. Or are they going to try and do the one-stop mediums to softs? Are they going to take the mediums very far, much further than you would normally expect, and then flick it over to a soft strategy? I think only they know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, like you say, obviously we can only, the proof is in the pudding, I think, a lot of the time. But still, nonetheless, it'd be interesting to see what they do. I mean, naturally, I don't think the one-stop is out of the question for the guys on the medium tyres. It could be the case that they might even attempt to carry the softs to the end. Personally, I would imagine they might even try going on to the harder compounds. I mean, you never know. I mean, if you look at it on paper, jumping from softs to mediums, if you keep the mediums out a little bit longer, naturally they'll be at, I suppose, peak level by the time the soft tyres wear off. So it might give the likes of Simon Vigang an opportunity to obviously capitalise on it. Maybe treat it in I suppose, a similar strategy, I suppose. Who knows?
Yeah, potentially. But here we are then. The cars are lining themselves back up on the grid, ready to get underway here in Hungary for the first time in F1 2020. It's Veloce Hyperz social race. Jan Otmir leading us away. It's go time, and I think there was a jump start there. One of the McLarens looked like they got away just a bit too quickly, although I've not seen it pop up, so maybe they've just got it perfectly done. That is Tomek, who's up to P5. It's a beautiful run in towards turn 1. He might actually be able to get in a couple of places here as well if he can get it just right. Camille's fighting it. Somehow he's P1, but he's definitely not. Seb up there as well. The timing seemed to be very off. Jan Otmir is definitely P1, though. That I can assure you.
Yes, some very quick drivers out of the blocks here, Raggy. Simon Vigang getting into P3 after a phenomenal start in that race. And, well, in this race, should I say, Alex Gillen also moving his way up the field. I will see that, though. My telemetry is starting to do some real crazy stuff at the moment. And, indeed, the positions have changed again. Camille, according to my screen, is currently in P4. So I do apologise, folks, but the latest is very conclusive. Jan Otmir leading the way with OMG. It's Joe in P2. Yellow flags in Sector 2. Looks like there might have been a crisis earlier on. And, indeed, a Ferrari SHZ Kruzic occupying the back of the field.
A crisis for Kruzic, that's all we can see. He's going to have to get himself back around again. He hasn't actually had any damage, so maybe it was just a spin and nothing more, but either way, he has not had a great start. A lot to recover now. Luckily, the train is not that far away, so he can still be done, but Camille, with a monster start, manages to jump up to P4. Same for Simon, who's starting to feel very comfortable now. Seb having a bit of a moment, not feeling too particularly great, and Rainbow's knocked himself down as well, so keep an eye out. Things can still light up.
I was actually feeling slightly sorry for Camille Common. I was about to state that he has the highest disadvantage going into the start of the race, but he's managed to come out of the start, jumping from P10 up to P4. A phenomenal start there from the orange McLaren, and certainly plugging away to try and catch up with Andy, who's just dead ahead of him. Certainly looking to apply the pressure as best he can, but he's got pressure in his own right because Seb in the Ferrari, Seb no less, in P5, gunning down on CRG Common, or CRG Camille, as he's now called, in that orange McLaren. But he's in P4 nonetheless. But the story is so far, Jan Otmir, but being gunned down by OMG. It's Joe.
Now, Joe is very fast. Is he Jan Otmir's pace? No, I don't think he is. It's going to be a Jano just kind of cruising a little bit, just starting to pull away just a little bit more than he is. But Joe is going to be absolutely pressing it, trying to get himself up there. I mean, look at the ERS he's used already. His overtake button's been pressed to knock him down to about 55%. You can see there's a little strategy. I've not seen this before, where just as he's coming out the corners, he's giving it a very tight squirt on the overtake battery. This is looking really good for him to keep up with him. But this is the lap that it matters, where DRS is enabled. That's when they can really start to gun it down. He has it going onto the home straight here. He's going to have to utilize as much as he can, not to burn too much of the battery, but also just keep himself within that 1 second margin.
Well, we got a bit of action going on in the midfield. Borb in P10, who's currently AI'd for the time being. Freeware in behind him in P11, making a move as we now see a collision. And indeed, it looks like Borb has crashed into the wall, and I gotta say there was a bit of carnage on the outset, and Freeware is under pressure because here comes none less than Triton Matthias. Into P10 he goes, locking up, going round the left hand of the Renault, capitalising after that crisis, and indeed takes P10. The Renault moving up a place.
And Bob has retired from the session. It looks like it was a mistake coming around turn 1. He had an issue going, like you say, on the home straight. He just veered off randomly out of nowhere, straight off into the wall. I think he got some damage. Coming through turn 1, he's decided that's enough. I don't want to continue, and has retired from the session. Lots of exciting movements as well. Matthias really going for a beautiful move. He's got a lot to do though. Still P10.
Yes, 2.2 seconds in behind Tomek Peradze, and you know it's going to be tough for him to try and close that gap. We know the pace of Tomek, and certainly he has lots of it. The McLaren team really taking a strong team, certainly based on CRG. Camille's performance so far, jumping from P10 up to P4 is certainly no mean feat, and he's doing it extremely well so far. Tomek currently just under 0.4 of a second behind Alex Gillen, and he'll have his chance as they round the final corner onto the straight. The DRS is already active, shall I say. It became active at lap 3. Alex Gillen now knows he's under pressure from Tomek. For himself, currently 7, nearly 0.8 of a second in behind Rainbow, who locks up going around turn 1. But certainly a long way to go. We're only in lap 4 of 35, folks. It's nowhere near squeaky bum time yet. Still plenty of action left to go.
Well, speaking of action, Lucas has actually just got a beautiful overtake around the outside in turn 1 on Beaker. Yes, DRS was a factor, but that played massively into the hands of Lucas. He's up to P15, only 5 positions to go until to the points.
Well, he's a fast guy. We know that. We discussed it before the start of the race. Certainly, qualifying looked like a good prospect for him, but naturally he's on the hard tyres now and really trying to push home. He's now clocking the Iceman currently, who's driving the Silver Arrows, that being the Mercedes, though most recently known for their black livery in the real world of F1. But certainly the Silver Arrows no less as potent here in the silver livery as well, as they make their way around this next right-hander. The Iceman certainly pushing with all he can to try and keep this Alfa Romeo at bay, but certainly he's a man that likes to control the race and certainly add a bit more flavour to it, a little bit of spice, he says, and tries to close the gap, and indeed he has, into about 0.2, now 0.3 of a second, right in between them in fact. And that gap is closing up between Austin and Mercedes. Long gap, a moment inside there from Lucas UK as they make their way around the final corner. The Alfa Romeo going toe-to-toe there with the Silver Arrows. They're going to be on the outset now. DRS becomes active for the Alfa. And Lucas, what a move. P14 for that man. Cracking stuff from Lucas UK.
That was a really, really clean move. So well executed. It actually looks like Simon's going to be trying to line up Seb as well. He's going to be trying to stick to the back of him as much as he possibly can. Not quite got a maneuver to do just yet. Again, it's a very hard position to overtake here. There's not really any overtaking opportunities except for the home straight, unless somebody makes a major mistake. And we'll see what he can do later.
Mistakes are costly here at the Hungarian circuit. Certainly, like we said, it's like Monaco without walls. I keep saying it, but it doesn't make it any less true. As we now see Seb round the left, round the right, Simon Vigang pressing with all he can. He knows, though, that he has the ability on these medium tyres to stay out longer. The compounds just suit that sort of strategy in this race, and certainly he's going to use it to great effect. Quite happy to be pottering in behind Seb, at least for the time being, waiting for those soft tyres to wear out, because soon they will. And he knows he's going to be at a disadvantage because Camille, currently occupying P4 on medium tyres. Currently, if you look at it on paper, Camille in with a great chance. We also see Simon Vigang round in the right corner. How did he do that? Phenomenal traction going round that bend as they make their way down the home straight. Seb under pressure, and certainly the Ferrari and Red Bull, long history between these two as they round turn 1, and the Aston Martin Red Bull makes his way into P4. Phenomenal move from Simon Vigang. He moves up a spot. Seb relegated to P5.
The softs are really starting to drop away here. You can see the pace starting to drop from all the guys that are currently running them. They're going to have to pit soon, around about lap 6, 7-ish. Maybe even lap 8 if they feel like really pushing them out. I'm expecting to see Jarno maybe go a little bit further on them, just then go for that late strategy. Maybe even try a one-stop on the mediums, but it's a long way to go on the medium tyres. Can they make it that far? It's a risk he's going to have to try if he wants to go for it.
Well, he's bridged, I've got to say, he's made the gap increase between him and Andy quite considerably. And Andinator looks like a bit of a lone ranger at the moment. He's on his own, and certainly no place to garner ERS down the straight. Sorry, DRS, should I say, not ERS. And Jarno Watme is certainly pressing the advantage. The Renault stuck in P2 on his own. Nowhere to gain traction. I got to say, that's a dangerous place to be, because Camel Common, I don't know where he's finding his pace, but he's certainly closing the gap. He's now only 1.8 seconds according to my group away, and it looks to me like he's getting closer and closer to that rear wing of the Renault, and I don't think it'll be long, certainly given the fact that he has certainly managed to close the gap already. These softs are definitely degrading, that's for sure. Simon Vigang as well being towed along by Camel, and certainly looks like a red McLaren and Red Bull party as they make their way up towards the top half of the field.
Or maybe even looking at a net P1, P2 for Camille Simon as it stands. Remember, the strategy call is huge for these. To start on the mediums, they get to really choose whatever they want to do here. If you're going to the softs, you're going to have to realistically go to the hards if you want to go to the end of this race. You could take them quite far and potentially try the mediums, but I think it's, at this point, the tire degradation is just too much to even think about. Softs hard seems to be the only choice for these drivers.
Absolutely. I got to say, it's certainly going to raise question marks. These guys have got to make some serious decisions now. Lap 7 of 35. We will very soon be witnessing the time for pit stops, and it'll certainly, like you keep saying, Raggy, these guys have got to make a decision. They've got to try and figure out a strategy that is best. I mean, it can only be the one stop, surely. Only the one stop can be prudent enough to make it through this race. Jarno Watmir is still out there, though, and really pushing. I suppose he can take his foot off the gas a bit, try and drag out the use of these soft tyres. Certainly the fact that he's got such an advantage over Andy at the moment, because Andy's in P2. There is a prudent enough gap, because I'm looking behind me, and certainly you cannot see Andy anywhere behind Jarno Watmir right now. That gap has increased massively as we now see him into the pit lane. Camille now into second place, and Simon Vigang, 2 medium tyres in the top 3. Now make that 4, because Tomek Peradzik has joined the party. Now this is where we'll see the strategy come into play.
Yeah, Tomek, a nice simple overtake there with DRS, and the overtake just being used a little bit to help him get past him. A little bit of a lockup there coming through turn 2. Needs to make sure he reins that in a little bit, otherwise there will not be any tyres to get to the end of this race. I've seen him lock up a couple of times. He really needs to be more consistent when it comes to the tyre management. But other than that, he's really chucking in some lap times.
Certainly is. Certainly is. It's not stopping him, and certainly because these guys are so good at what they do, even tyre wear can't stop them. I mean, I've got to say, I've seen Jarno Watmir on degraded tyres before. That doesn't stop that man. He'll still nail the fastest lap if he has to, and certainly don't write anyone off at this stage. Lap 8 of 35, this is where we'll start to see, like we said, the strategy start to come into place. A lot of the drivers now coming in to get those softs changed. Camille, come on, a little bit of a lockup going around that little right-hander, and he knows. And again, in fact, both Camille and Simon Vigang locking up, going around the next left-hander before the final corner. Indeed, it might be Simon Vigang who has the last laugh here, because he'll have DRS going down the straight. And will he activate it now and press the hapless Camille right now, who is currently in P2? And indeed, here comes Simon Vigang, a move down the inside. Will he get the job done? Smoothly, doesn't he? Says the Red Bull. It gives him wings. He gets P2.
That was so well done. Very, very risky. They burnt a lot of overtake just to help get himself alongside, but it all paid off in the end. He's P2. He can recharge now with the fact that this is such a difficult track to overtake. He just needs to maintain momentum, maintain consistency, not lock up, not cause any issues, definitely don't get any penalties, and then Simon's really got this in the bag.
He has. We said before the start of qualifying, he was one of the dangerous ones. Jarno Watmir and Camille. Camille known to be a great racer as well, but Simon Vigang and Otmir certainly were the ones to look out for. Not forgetting as well Tomek, who is currently in P4, still on medium tyres himself. He had a bit of a stiffer run through this race, and certainly had it hard. He was stuck behind a few cars, and to be fair, the strategy so far has worked out to his favour. He's gone up quite a few places since the start of the race. But certainly, though, all eyes on Simon Vigang, though. P2 to that man's name right now. And this is when we'll see the strategies unfold. As you can now see, Jarno Watmir is now showing up in front of that Red Bull. And still, and well, I say that, he is now into the pit lane. Simon Vigang will take provisional P1.
Yeah, Jarno's decided to take it 8 laps almost, well, 9 laps in on the softs before he decides to switch off. Now, is he going to go on to the mediums or the hards? I think the mediums is too much, and yeah, he's decided to go on the hards. This is perfect for him. He's going to definitely make it to the end of the race very comfortably, and he should be able to chuck in crazy lap times even towards the end. So keep an eye on him. Yes, he's going to drop down the field a fair bit now, but that doesn't mean nothing when it comes to later on in the session. We're going to be seeing a lot of purples from him.
No, I've had the fortune to drive with Jarno Watmir on open lobbies. We've done a couple of streams together. Me and him have put ourselves at the back of the grid, and I've got to say he manages it a lot better than me, as expected. The man is, I've got to say, is quite simply insane when it comes to raw pace. And certainly the Alfa Romeo looks absolutely masterful under his control, and certainly in P13 at the moment, already closing on the back of Andy. And it doesn't matter, he's on hard tyres. Because the rest of the field will certainly be on hard tyres, certainly if they're donning the one-stop strategy. And that it won't take long for that delta time to shrink. And indeed, Andy will be feeling the pressure now, midway through lap 10.
The pack has started to spread out quite considerably now. Yes, there is a few little trains going on. There's a battle for P4 still that Josh is involved in. Now, there is a little bit of a bug that's going on at the minute, for me at least, where the hards are still showing 0 laps. But I can confirm that Josh, Matthias, and Lucas have all yet to pit. They've done 10 laps on the hards, in fact, so they're still going to be taking them a lot further to go. It depends what they're trying to do. Are they trying to do hards to mediums or hards to softs? Hards mediums, they could pit now and just start to go to the end of the race, maybe. Or at least in a few more laps, as Andy just cruises on past Iceman there. Nice little exit there. Nothing to really shout about. Andy smashed it.
He did. Smoothly does it indeed once again, this time from Andy. And in behind, Jarno Watmir is going to have his chance as well. He dashes past Iceman, and certainly no contest there. The DRS became open for Jarno Watmir, and he certainly used it to his advantage. A little lock-up going around the left-hander, but certainly nothing to be concerned about as he now makes his way up towards the quick left. Andy only just ahead of him now. Andy doing all he can to try and keep this Alfa Romeo behind him right now, and certainly doesn't want to let this man through because obviously that'll give Jarno every bit of advantage. Simon Vigang obviously hoping that Jarno gets held up a bit as Overspeed is seen going into the grass on the right-hand side as we now see all the cars overtake him there and loses a little bit more traction, going for a ride there on that bend, luckily managing to keep it on the black stuff, indeed on the road, and indeed still in P13. But I gotta say, this track, like we keep saying, very unforgiving.
His tires are overheating like crazy. I've just looked at his onboard. He is over 100 degrees, 110 it was at one point on his tires. So yeah, he's struggling for grip. You can see the way he was exiting was not good. And Tomek is the first of the medium drivers. Oh, Overspeed again with a huge tank slapper. Surely he's going to be bringing in. Yes, he is. Is it going to be hards to the end? Surely it has to be. Well, Tomek is in. He's gone to the hards as well. Interesting. Why would you not just do softs if that's the case?
Well, it's interesting, but I did call out before the start of the race that maybe the one-stop strategy, even for the medium drivers, to go onto the hards might be the right call. At least then you can use the optimized mediums to at least set some faster laps and try and build the delta time in between the cars behind you in order to get the overcut, I suppose, or the undercut, should I say, and come out in front still. That might be the sort of thing that Simon Vigang's thinking of, because he's still in P1. Himself and Camel as well even Camel might have the same view. Obviously, we're only in lap 12, still a long way to go, but I can't help but feel that the hard tyres will be the likely choice, even for those on mediums.
You know what, man? Currently P10, working his way back through the field, especially as people are going to be starting to pit soon. But he's going to have to do it all on the circuit, as he's decided to take the tyres much further than anybody else. It should be a lot easier later on when everybody's tyres start to degrade much more than his are. And then he can just pass them all much easier when we come to the DRS straight. But do we have enough laps for him to be able to do that? This guy is phenomenally fast. There's no doubt about it. It's just finding opportunities. If traffic presents itself, you can't always get past. It doesn't matter how fast you are.
No, well, Jarno Watmir now coming up towards Andy now, heading down towards turn 1, and here comes the Alpha. Boom, he says, boom, shakalaka. The Alfa Romeo into P8, and indeed looking like he has the raw pace right now. He has now got OMG, it's Joe, in front of him now, 1 second, well, 1.1 seconds ahead, and indeed it won't be long before he saps away that time. Indeed, he's already down to the near 1 second mark. It won't be long before we're into the 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tenths of a second, and indeed the battle will be on. Certainly all to play for here in lap 13, Raggy.
Yeah, absolutely. Krusak's actually recovered himself quite nicely in this race as well. Sorry, he's P6, hunting down Freeway right on the back of him. And it looks like Freeway's tyres are starting to drip away a little bit too much for him. He's struggling on pace now, and Krusak's is actually starting to lap this all up. Of course, they are on the same age of tyre, just the compound being completely different makes it so much easier for those on the hards. Freeway is in a lot of trouble right now.
He is, yeah. And obviously this midpoint is obviously very telling. This is where we start to see things like that really kind of show, and certainly this is not a place to really make mistakes, because you've really got to have your eyes set on how your strategy is going to work, what other drivers are doing. You don't want to be caught in the unawares, and certainly that's likely to happen. Jarno Watmir in the midst of a cluster of cars there, as we indeed see OMG, it's Joe, making a move on what looks to be Krusich. Having a look down the inside, at least Krusich as well, applying the pressure on Freeway. We have got a total DRS train here between cars from P5 right through down to almost, down to P8, should I say, because Andy, bringing up the rear after being overtaken by Jarno Watmir, is still there or thereabouts. Jarno Watmir obviously conscious of the fact that he's got 3 slower cars, no doubt, than him, dead ahead, and certainly with them battling, it's going to make life very difficult for him to make that crucial overtake. As you see, OMG is Joe right in the front wing of Jarno Opmeer right now. Kruzich dead ahead, Freeware leading that cluster of cars, and indeed we're going to be seeing some drama, but I think there's been a yellow flag in sector 3, Raggy.
I believe that's Beaker. Yeah, he's lost it coming out of the final corner, and that's really been bad for him. He's even retired. He slammed his car just a bit too hard, and that's a virtual safety car. This is a bit of a lifesaver for Jarno, because yes, he's stuck in this traffic. He can't pass on the circuit. It's just too hard to do. But it's also allowing the likes of Andy and Simon to close in even more. And what looked like it was going to be such a landslide victory for Jarno suddenly becomes that bit harder. If he starts getting pressured by Andy or even Simon or even Camille at this point, he's going to start to fall apart a little bit more than you'd expect. Freeware's now decided to pit under the virtual safety car. The right decision to make, especially whilst you can. The issue is, though, is that Jarno does need to pull away very quickly on this restart. I think he's tried to go now, but you can see he's dropped away quite considerably to the likes of Joe and Kruzix, who are 3 and 4 right now after the pit stops have been applied for Lucas and Freeware. And yeah, Jarno in big trouble. Andy on the rear of him already.
And only that, Simon Vigang has come to join the party as well, naturally under the virtual safety car. I'm sure Jarno Opmeer wouldn't have wanted this to be, wouldn't have wanted this at all, because naturally it allows Simon a chance to close the gap on the restart. But certainly, nonetheless, it's going to be interesting to see what the hard tyre wear is like here in lap 15 and 35. We've still got a long way to go, another 20 laps no less. And certainly it's going to be very testing. How are these guys going to manage these hard tyres? Even those who pitted a bit later, like I said, the mediums might well have been the right tyre choice.
Rainbow's actually just slipped one past Alex Gillen there in a very awkward area to attack, but he managed to go side by side through 3, 4, and 5, and now he's made it up now into P12. Yes, he's on the hard tyres. He should be able to go quite the distance, especially as Alex and Lucas are on the medium tyres. 20 laps on Lucas's tyres is going to be very, very hard to manage, but he's going to have to try it, and he's got nowhere else to do it apart from on the circuit.
Yeah, it's going to be a testing one for him. He's going to have to really manage them well. And I got to say, with certainly 20 laps remaining, taking them to the end is just simply not doable. Surely, I got to say, if he does it, I'm impressed. But nonetheless, he's probably going to have to make another stop. OMG, it's Joe, though, doing extremely well to hold off Jarno Opmeer at the moment, blocking every single move he makes. OMG, it's Joe, currently with a very stiff task on his hand to try and manage Kruzich, who's ahead of him, but also keeping in mind that Jarno Opmeer is having a little look every which way for overtake at the moment on him. So he's got to really try and manage this Alfa Romeo that's in behind him and try and avoid any collision, but at the same time, any overtake that Jarno might be forced to make.
Well, this is it, and Jarno will see an opportunity and he will take it without a doubt. He has the skill, he has the awareness to spot them first of all, but then execute it flawlessly. So we'll see if any opportunities do present themselves. Right now, though, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It's just cruise mode, just sit on the back of Joe for now until we get to the home straight and just pray that he can find a way through on the exit. If he can get it right, get the DRS, get the overtake button applied, he should be able to slide past at least Kruzix. I think it might even be a two-car pass here on Kruzix. He might, if he's not careful, he's going to find himself dropping down the field very quickly.
But it's managing that pressure, and indeed, you can see there Joe is smoking, but Jarno ain't joking as they round the final bend, heading down towards the straight as the DRS will become active now, heading down the straight past the paddock, and as you can see the cars in front, oh my god, it's Joe, he's going to have a chance here, surely, as he closes the gap there on Kruzich, coming up towards turn 1, it's now or never for the Williams, as they make their way down towards the corner, and indeed, it's Joe, who's levelled the car up alongside the Ferrari, taking the advantage, notch past Kruzich, now Kruzich is in trouble, here comes Opmeer, diving down the inside of lockup. Oh my word, that was close. Coming round that bend there, but Jarno got the job done. He was pecking and poking. He takes P4. The Alfa Romeo once again riding himself up the field.
So well driven from these drivers to be so close to each other but not actually connecting. Really shows the skill that these guys have got and how well they can take it to the track. So yes, Jarno Opmeer is up to P4. Oh, I thought there was a big lag there moment. I thought Andy went straight into the back of Kruzix. But he is definitely teleporting around there. Joe is up into P3, so he's really starting to love life. But again, now he hasn't got DRS to protect himself. He hasn't got the toe to protect himself. But he has got a very fast Jarno Opmeer on the back of him. And when we come to that home straight, when the DRS is available to him, there is surely no way that Joe can hold him back unless he absolutely dumps the battery, to which he has a little bit less than Jarno, only about 20% as such. Keep an eye out now as Jarno coming around the final corner, needs to get the exit just right. Overtake mode will definitely be applied, you can almost guarantee it. Here comes the DRS, overtake mode. No, he's decided not to use it. He's actually decided he's going to hold on to it for now.
Yeah, so simply not close enough to make any sign of an overtake at this stage. Obviously, the gap between him and Joe is far too vast at this moment in time. Certainly making use of the DRS, though, to try and close the gap in between him and the Williams. And as long as he can do that and try and keep and ride on the back of the Williams, eventually he will get his chance. And I'm sure he will be patient. That's the beauty of this man. He certainly does not rush things. When he gets his chance, he measures it, takes his time, and certainly in lap 18 of 35, still a long way to go. I will say this though, this battle between Andy and Kruzic, I've got nostalgia, Raggy. I was commentating these boys when they were in AOR Tier 4 back in the day 2 seasons ago. And certainly it was phenomenal to commentate on it then. It's going to be phenomenal now. Kruzic occupying P5, Andy in P6. Once again, I feel like it's 2 seasons ago all over again here now, Raggy. I'm going to be on for yet another battle here as they make their way around the final stages of Sector 3. We could be seeing yet more drama moving into lap 19.
Well, Luke is actually trying to send it down the inside of Camilla. Now he's going to take the outside line, side by side. There's surely no way he can make this work unless he can keep his car alongside, which is exactly what he's done. And he wants to make sure he stays in the DRS here of Simon. If he can get that, perfect move there from Lucas. And he's going to allow the tow, allow the DRS to help pull him away from Camille, but he can still get the return. He can still get the retaliation, maybe on the second bit, as here comes Kruzic and Andy. Andy's gone down the inside. Oh, there's contact. Kruzic, and here comes Simon. Just slides down the inside of Kruzic there, up in a P6. Is he going to try the same thing on Andy? No, he's decided against it. That was a very opportunistic move from Simon, and he's made it work.
Almost ninja style, I gotta say. Crouching Tiger, hidden Red Bull, that's for sure. Moving in on the inside and certainly snatched it without Kruzic looking. And certainly that, like I said before, that cluster of cars between Simon and Andy and Kruzic. Andy and Kruzic obviously battling with each other. Simon saw this was happening and obviously took advantage, managed to notch himself up a spot. And at the same time, Andy's managed to rid himself from the menace that is Kruzic, and certainly it provides him with a bit of an open circuit. But bear in mind, he's got Simon breathing down his neck, and he knows how quick that man is.
Well, Luke is actually making it harder for Kruzic as well. He's trying to go side by side with him, and every time he gets alongside of him, it's a bit of a mistake. And even going through that chicane there, we did actually see a bit of contact between Kruzic and Lucas, which did cause instability for both of them, and almost allowed Camille to get right back past Lucas, which would have undone all the hard work that he's achieved so far. The gap is starting to expand here between Kruzic and Simon. Lucas will have DRS here, thankfully, due to how close he was to Kruzic. But he's not going to be able to do anything more than that after this. He's going to have to just try and hope and pray that his pace is good enough. And meanwhile, Jarno closing in on Joe again.
Yeah, it certainly is. To quote John Cena, Jarno's time is up. His time is now. He wants to close on oh my God, it's Joe. And certainly the P2 spot is looking tasteful at the moment as they round the quick right-hander, soon to be met with a fast left. Indeed, he's going to apply every bit of pressure to try and make this man to make a mistake, and certainly he'll have his chance. As you can see, that Williams getting closer and closer to that Alfa Romeo front wing, and I don't think it'll be long before he takes his chance on one of the DRS straights. I can imagine it now. I can see it now. That all-in Alfa Romeo car is going to be certainly riding on the back of that Williams. It's going to be a painful half a lap left for Joe, and certainly going to test his mettle before the start of lap 21.
Joe is doing a phenomenal job to keep his car as fast as he currently is. Jarno is very much just biding his time, though. That's the main issue here for him. I think he's going to have to try and just keep it together. Don't make any mistakes, especially locking up. That's where you'll lose all of the everything you've gained. Just trying to maintain so much pace and consistency. And Joe is just keeping everything perfectly done here. Now, Jarno might actually go for an opportunity here. He's got the DRS again. He's more than close enough. He's decided to go for overtake. Yes, here he is. Straight down the inside here on Joe. Joe's got no answer to this whatsoever. And Jarno will resume race leader. Can Joe get the exit? He's not got the DRS. Jarno does. And that's going to be move secured there for Jarno.
Well, that means he is the official leader of this Grand Prix. Indeed, it's looking good for Jarno Opmeer at the moment. Almost standard from that man, and certainly proving that he has got the pace, the raw talent, and everything you need to become a world champion. Certainly in any series you take part in, this man's quick, he's got history, and are we surprised? Not at all. Indeed, Simon Vigang, though, proving to be a formidable contender, currently occupying P3, moving himself up the ranks after the pit stops were made by other drivers further down the field, and indeed he's now closing in on Joe himself. Indeed, he's only 1.1 seconds in behind the Williams car right now. Antonator being towed along as well in the Renault. In behind him, Lucas as well on the fresher medium tyres. Now he is going to try and go to the end and certainly making the most of those mediums as things stand. I can see it now. He's got to take those to the end, Raggy. He's got to do it.
Yeah, there's no alternative here. There's no choice for a softie, otherwise you just lose everything that you've made. And yeah, Andy is starting to fall a little bit here and actually allowing Lucas to go for a move. And you know Lucas is the kind of driver who's absolutely going to go for it. And yeah, here he is. DRS very much used. Look at his ERS though. He's so low in terms of the battery. He's been pushing incredibly hard to try and close in on this battle. And realistically, he's done it. He's actually just on the limit there of DRS from Simon, who's also on the limit of the DRS for the battle for P1.
Well, if this carries on, it'll be a great day for Alfa Romeo indeed. Currently a driver in P1, a driver in P4. This is very nearly a fairy tale finish for them, as you now see Lucas making his way around the next fast left. He's in behind Simon Vigang, certainly has managed to catch up with this with Simon Vigang in such a short space of time. Naturally, though, he has rinsed the overtake mode as well as the DRS and making the most out of those medium tyres against the field that is pretty much strung out with hard tyre compounds, as we now see further in front. Oh my God, it's Joe currently under pressure. Simon Vigang now within a second of that, Williams, and indeed you only think it's a matter of time before he makes a move at some point. Simon Vigang operating on 7-lap old hard tyres. OMG, it's Joe on 15-lap old hard tyres. So certainly it is a battle of who's bravest at this moment in time here in lap 22, and surely it's only a matter of time before we see these two going at it as well, and Jarno Opmeer may be in trouble as well.
Yeah, Simon Vigang is very much now part of this train. Obviously, Lucas is joining him too. And he does have an opportunity to get himself back into it. He's only 1.3 away. Still very much a chance to just break that couple of tenths in and then eventually get back into the actual train itself. But Joe is doing a very good job of just holding the gap at around about half a second. The concern I've got for him is that Simon is very much a fast driver and will absolutely get onto the back of him and just go for any opportunity that is available. Same for Lucas, who's actually had a chance to recharge his battery just slightly. I say slightly, he's literally just over 10% now, and that's after the braking zone, so he's got a lot more work to do. But look how close he is to Simon.
Well, any man with Pro Series credentials is certainly got them for a reason, and Simon Vigang is certainly one of those. He's in P3 and certainly managing to chop away, like I said before, lumberjack of lap times now, 7/10 of a second in behind Joe at, for the time being, P2. Certainly seems to me like it's a... well, it certainly seems like a doddle. I'm sure Joe won't make it a doddle as they now make their way around the next right-hander. You can see the Williams dead in front, P2. That gap shrinking by the moment. We're now into the proper 7/10 positions now, 7 to 8/10 should I say, but round to the bend into what will be the home stretch. I'm sure he'll make use of the ERS that he's got left as well as the DRS to try and close that gap as much as he can, and indeed he punches both the overtake button and the DRS and heads down the straight. Inadvertently, Lucas is also following him, so he's pulling the other Alfa Romeo along. It certainly is going to be a tasty four-way battle as Simon Vigang locks up around turn 1.
Camille's actually trying to get the switch back of dreams here on Andy. He's got the DRS for it, but he hasn't got the exit speeds. And yes, Andy is there. He's having to use even the overtake button. He's going to have to take the outside here. Very big lock up on the left-hand side. It's going to be very difficult for him to make this work, but he's side-by-side still. There was a bit of a wheel touch. And now Camille, hold on, Andy's just straight back into it. Straight back into P5 and just recovers the position like it was never taken in the first place. Beautiful maneuver there from Andy. He holds back Camille at least for another lap.
I can't explain that. I cannot explain that, Raggy. That is phenomenal. I don't know how he managed to regain so much traction on the outset of that bend. It certainly looked to me like almost Camille had put his foot on the brakes pretty much and literally smashed them in and allowed Andy to go through. It almost looked that easy, but fair play to him. Getting the traction, holding on to P5. Camille applying the pressure still though, albeit he has got some way to go as Andy, you now see, locks up, eats a little bit of turf as well, which won't be ideal, and it will cost him a little bit of ground. And certainly around a track like Hungary, like we said, track position vital. You need to eat up as much pace as you can, and certainly it's going to be hard now for Andy to try and hold on to that position. Camille, oh so patient, and at the same time, oh so fast. You know, see him now with the DRS, zooming up towards Andy now, who has no DRS, heading down towards turn 1, goes for a move on the inside, a late maneuver indeed, and a McLaren moving round and trying to take advantage. Not this time, says Andy. Not this time, mate. Better luck next time for Camille, come on.
That was such an ambitious move. I mean, it was, you know, to say the least, it was entertaining, but it just was just too deep. There's no way that was ever going to pay out for him. He's going to have to slow the car down far too quickly and still get pace out of the corner, whereas Andy just carries on doing his normal line, maintains momentum, easy peasy lemon squeezy, back up in a P5. Oh, and Camille's even getting a bit of a tank slapper to boot as well. Joe, the massive 3-second penalty. This could be huge for the likes of Simon and Lucas.
Penalties are not what you want, certainly if you're in the top 3. Certainly where these guys are concerned, they're all quick drivers. And I think Joe is dropping back from Jarno Opmeer. Jarno really pushing now, and he is outside that second gap now. He is in the 1.2 second mark away from Joe right now. Simon Vigang knows that he needs to apply the pressure now. If he wants to have a go at attacking Jarno Opmeer, he needs to get past Joe as soon as possible. And given the fact that he's on 10 lap old hards, this is going to be his chance. And I think looking at it now, as I'm looking ahead, I can't seem to see any chance of Joe managing to hold off Simon Vigang, because it certainly looks like he's managed to close the deficit in the delta times right now, down to near enough 3 to 4 tenths of a second. Simon on a mission here.
Yeah, Josh managed to slip down past Tomek as well in towards turn 1. It was a very easy DRS overtake, and Tomek is actually starting to struggle now. That strategy just didn't pay out for him whatsoever. Josh doing a phenomenal amount of time on his mediums. Obviously, he has got a lot less life in them now. I mean, I know it says 29 laps, but I assure you that is not the case. They have, in fact, pit since then. We haven't even done 29 laps in the actual race itself, so that's interesting. Lucas, P4 though, still hanging in for this battle, but this is pretty much a battle for P2 right now, as the gap's actually extended to a 1.1 between Joe and Jarno. And Jarno, in this sort of zone, is very comfortable. He will start to pull away.
He will, and this is the time to do it, because certainly we're coming towards nut cutting time here in this race. And OMG, it's Joe, knows that he's got a different battle on his mind now, because he's got Simon Vigang dead behind him. Certainly half a second behind, and that's Simon Vigang's not going to let him forget it either, as they round the final bend. Soon to be, the DRS will be loaded, and Simon will punch it, and I'm sure we'll take a chance here going down the straight. Certainly Joe being under pressure now with the fact that he has no DRS on Jarno Opmeer at the moment. You can see Simon dashing now in front of the Safina back, rear wing on the Williams, moving in on the inside, the Red Bull, and indeed trying to take advantage. They're toe-to-toe on the outset. Here comes the Red Bull, leading down towards the next swinging left-hander. It's Simon Vigang, P2 for the man in navy blue, and he's now going to be trying to push Jarno Opmeer now. P1 at stake. Let's go.
And Josh actually making moves on Camille, or at least he tried to. He couldn't quite get it done. He's actually still stuck here, but look how close he is. He could literally send it at any opportunity. If Camille even steps a little bit too wide, he's trying to apply the pressure, trying to force a mistake, and a yellow flag ahead. That is, I believe it's overspeed just getting out of the way. Yes, it is. He's trying to avoid getting himself in a bit of trouble here with the stewards, and a very good job of that. And I don't know what happened to Camille. He's disappeared. He's lost control. Yellow flag, sector 2. He's binned it.
He's been struggling with traction. I've been seeing him losing the rear end on countless occasions going around the circuit. I think certainly the Hungarian circuit with its testing corners, certainly a lot of swingers. They've got to almost try and control the car with the accelerator, almost. But if you apply too much, you can easily lose the rear end, and I think that's what's cost him. He's now dropped down to P9. Not ideal, certainly for a man who looked like he had the strategy pretty much nailed before the start of the race. So not ideal for Camel Common at all. And indeed, now we're seeing OMG, it's Joe, under pressure from Lucas UK now, who really needs to start taking advantage on these medium tyres, because it won't be long before the wear runs out, Raggy.
Yeah, exactly. Josh making a move as well on Andy up to P5. This is great for him. Joe's obviously got to worry about that penalty he's got. You know, he's going to lose the place no matter what now. It's a question of, do you actually want to fight? Am I going to run the risk of losing even more from fighting this? Do I bring Josh into this battle as well? Which would be tremendously poor for him. But Lucas getting a tyre penalty will actually favour Joe here as well. He could still cling on to a podium.
He can. That's actually a very crucial penalty. I mean, obviously, with the fact that Lucas has still got still a few laps remaining, those medium tyres are becoming less and less effective as the race goes on. And I got to say, any mistakes, like I say and keep saying, they are very costly around the circuit of Hungary. Simon Vigang, you see dead ahead, looks like he might have just sewn up things ahead of oh my God, it's Joe at the moment. Certainly, he's got Jarno Opmeer on his mind at the moment. 1.5 seconds, now 1.6 seconds in behind the Alfa Romeo, who's currently leading the way. It's certainly Jarno's race to lose right now, but remember, he's still got another 7 laps to hold on to in order to clinch this race. It's not over yet. Not over yet, Raggy.
No, definitely not. I mean, the only thing that's kind of favoured towards Simon here is the fact that he has better tyres in comparison to Jarno, but Jarno pitted so late on the softs, it doesn't surprise me that he's going to be comfortable all the way to the end of this. Lucas looking for an opportunity. Oh, there was a moment there. There was a very brief little glisten in his eye where he thought, maybe I can go for it. Joe's had a little bit of a wobble there coming through turn 2. This is going to be a send surely from Lucas. Is he going to find a way through? He's burning everything when it comes to this ERS. He's ran out completely, and as a result, will fall back a little bit from Joe. and Joe's brought himself still within 8/10 of Simon Weigang. It can still change any time now, especially if he keeps locking up like he has done. Lucas making a mistake. Might actually lose DRS here to Joe. Yes, he has. He's outside the 1 second margin, and Joe's in the same position.
That's a very crucial moment in the battle for third place. Certainly this will give Joe a chance to try and get himself rid of that Alfa Romeo that's been pressing him. Certainly those medium tyres must be feeling like ice skates right now, heading round lap 29 of 35, and certainly it's only going to get worse as we now move into the 30 laps mark. And I'm sure now, oh my God, it's Joe is going to be trying to hold on to P3, try and keep it sensible. But indeed, Lucas is not done yet. He's managed to pull himself back into the DRS zone.
Yeah, this is crucial for him. He needs to make sure he stays within it because obviously he has a penalty, and as far as he's concerned, Joe doesn't have any unless he's asked his Jeff, and Jeff may have provided that information, but still, you know, when you're in the moment like this, you don't have time to ask these questions with the in-game Jeff. You need to make sure you just get on with it and try and pace him out as quick as you can. Lucas is trying to close it in. He's actually doing a very good job, and so is Joe, to say the least. He's actually keeping himself back within touch of Simon. He may have had to burn a fair bit of that ERS to manage it, and look, even he's in a similar boat to what Lucas is in. Neither of them have any ERS to play with. I mean, it's kind of the same for Simon. The only person who's really comfortable is Jarno. He's about 30%. He's just cruising.
He is, absolutely, and doing it very, very well indeed. 1.5 seconds clear of Simon Weigang. Oh my God, it's Joe, though. Moving back into that second mark. I think he's finally starting to struggle, I think, a little bit, and naturally doesn't want to drop back too much, certainly, from Simon Weigang. Because obviously he'll need his DRS train to try and avoid Lucas, who's now brought it into half a second. But looking at the medium tyres at the moment, if you look down at Josh, he's on 37 lap old mediums according to my screen, which is interesting. But nonetheless, Lucas on 14 laps, managing them really well at the moment, and certainly looks like he's okay despite a little bit of oversteer starting to come into his race at the moment as we make our way into lap 31 of 35. And oh my God, it's Joe is under pressure because here comes the Alpha of Lucas. Doesn't go for the move. Now, how crucial is that? Because I get a feeling that was his chance unless he's waiting for this moment as he passes the DRS line. Oh my God, it's Joe without DRS heading into the next left-hander. But still, Lucas can't get the job done. Again, he's going to have to be patient here in lap 31 and 35. But still, a few laps remaining. But for how long will he get the usefulness out of his medium tyres?
Well, the issue he's got here is yes, he is actually staying behind him, at least for this lap, and he does have a few more to go. The worry I've got for him is if he doesn't get a move on, he may actually lose sight of Simon here. He might actually run out of that DRS, and you know, Josh very quickly on the back of them now. They're actually within that 3 second margin of Lucas, depending on if Josh actually has any penalties himself. If he doesn't, he's going to get a freebie here, and he only has to get a little bit faster in order to get 2 freebies and find himself a podium. And considering where he started, this is huge for Josh.
It's huge, and actually Red Bull with a dramatic turnaround, because we looked at qualifying. The 2 Red Bulls weren't looking to set laps anytime soon, but they've come into the race full of energy and certainly full of power, because Josh now in P5 certainly looks to be closing the gap on Lucas right now, and obviously on medium tyres as well, so maybe he'll be just as effective on this circuit as he will be. And certainly Lucas left frustrated, but he is close to Joe now and looking to make a move heading down towards turn 1. Here comes the Alpha, looking for He's 1 and 3 this time. Lucas getting into the podium spots. That was easy. Easy indeed. Joe sacrificing that podium spot. Lucas with the DRS heading down towards the next left. What a phenomenal move there by the man in the red Alpha.
Tomek has managed to get himself up to P6, but it was a very aggressive move there on Andy. He went for a send down the inside and towards turn 1. Kind of ran Andy a little bit too wide there, but you know, he's got the position fair and square in my opinion. It was a bit elbows out, but you know, we all will love a bit of elbows out racing, don't we?
Of course we do. Nice bit of battling. Never hurt anybody, Ragnar. Never hurt anybody.
Oh, no. Look at Simon. He's got a penalty. A 3 second penalty applying to his... This could be Josh getting P2 here.
That would be phenomenal. He is indeed on the right track, certainly for a podium finish here. And as long as he can keep the gap in place, this could be a phenomenal turnaround, certainly for the man in the Red Bull. Has his teammate done him a favour? Let's find out. I mean, obviously, we've only got a few laps remaining. If Josh manages to close the gap in this little time we have left, this could prove really an important moment in this race. This is absolutely phenomenal. Please leave your suggestions, folks, in the chat box who you think is going to be in the top 3, because answers on a postcard, please. Me and Raggy can't seem to tell you. These penalties have really jumbled this whole situation up.
honestly, it just makes it so difficult to really, you need an oracle ball here to work out exactly who's going to get where. One thing is that Josh is going to be feeling very confident, but he's still going to be pushing incredibly hard. In terms of ERS, he's looking very comfortable, at least in comparison to the others. Yes, he's still under 20%, but still he's more than what the likes of Lucas and Joe have been putting down, and even Simon to an extent in a similar position. Whereas Yano, again, I keep singing his praises because he's just doing everything right. He's been P1 from the word go. Even when he pit, he was still mentally P1 and net P1. So very well done to him to be maintaining what he has been. And Alex Gillen starting to close in onto the back of Freeway here. Might actually have an opportunity down the inside and towards Stage 2. He's going to have to take the outside line. This is a very hard maneuver to make, and he hasn't been able to get it done. Freeway will hold to P12. It is for a non-points position, but glory is everything to these drivers.
Well, I did bring my magic 8-ball with me, Raggy, but I got to say, even if I did, I'd imagine it would say ask again later, because at the moment I cannot decipher what the top 3 is going to be. Yano Watmir, though, for sure, is definitely going to be P1 in my book. Looking at it, we've got Tommy Pryor in the chat saying Yano, Lucas and Josh top 3 in his opinion. It could well be. Simon, in his case, out of the top 3. Lucas would be moving up 1 spot, and Josh making his way into 3rd place. Who knows? I got to say, it's Sophie's choice at the moment, as we now see that the gap between Josh and Joe has moved into 1.2 seconds. He's now seeing that Williams dead ahead of him. That Red Bull certainly pushing and a prodding, trying to get his way into P4. And you can see in front of him, Lucas as well, not really separated away from that Williams car of Joe. It certainly is going to be the final 2 laps. It's hairy. I've got a sweat on. I'm not going to lie to you. I've got a sweat on.
We have had a prediction of Yano, Lucas, and Josh for the top 3, which is interesting. I think they all have, well, I know they all have at least 3 seconds. I just don't know how many Simon has. It's the first one I've seen, but it doesn't mean he hasn't got more. We'll keep an eye out for that. Josh, though, he is the one I think has got it completely clean. I don't think he has any penalties. And if he doesn't, this is huge. He will absolutely climb the board here. At least looking at a P3 right now, maybe even a P2.
Could well be. You can't write the man off. He's already within 0.7 of a second to OMG. It's Joe at the moment, and Lucas as well in ahead could also be in danger unless he can keep it clean on the track. It certainly is very, very difficult to decipher who's going to come where in this race as we now cross the line, ready to start the final lap of the race, where Yano Watmir will take him round for the final time. Simon Vigang, though, has managed to cut the delta time into 1.4 seconds. So is Simon going to go for one last burst of pace? He's going to need to, certainly given the fact that he had that crucial 3-second time penalty applied. Maybe this is when he actually turns around and says, right, this is it, nothing to lose, I'm going to go for it, Raggy.
Well, right now he has cleared himself of Josh, so he's at least going to fall to P4. That's if he has more penalties than Lucas and Joe. And Simon might actually still hold on to that P2 position overall, despite getting that penalty, which would be huge for Simon to achieve that. But Yano Watmir just doing everything right so far. I've not seen a single penalty from him. I don't even think he's got a warning, to be truthfully honest. He's just driven so perfectly clean and consistent. Can't sing his praises enough. Joe has done a very good job to maintain everything, considering how hard this race has been for him. He's been having pressure from all angles, and he's still managed to keep it in a P4 for now. It's just where Josh falls into this. That's the bit that I'm just really going to be surprised about, as Yano Watmir will take us through the penultimate and into the final corner then. He's done everything right. He's got the strategy nailed perfectly. Even when I questioned it, he says, silence, Raggy. I will cross the line and I will take the race win here. Simon will cross in P2. Who gets what now? Lucas in P3. Joe will follow up and Josh gets P3. He's on the podium. It's a double Red Bull podium, but Yano on P1.
What a phenomenal race and what a dramatic finish. Red Bull, I gotta say, the best of the rest, certainly in terms of constructors' performance. Simon Vigang taking P2, Josh taking P3. What a performance from them. Yano Watmir, though, that's your story. P1, a phenomenal drive, leading from start to finish. Pretty much picked up his bags and went home with it. And what a drive indeed. Pretty much led he did lead all the way pretty much, if you consider the pit stops in between. But what a phenomenal race, and indeed some interesting battles going through the field, and some real dramatic moments. I hope you guys all enjoyed it as well in the chat box. It certainly was a phenomenal race, Raggy. It
really, really was. It was so good. The strategy was all over the place. Everyone was trying different things. You know, the pace was still there from all the drivers, and yeah, it's exactly what you need in racing. It's such a great way to kick off F1 2020.
Absolutely, and we've got something really good to look forward to now then, certainly with the new 2020 game, and they've confirmed it here in the game. Actually, Josh has been given driver of the day, and I'm not at all surprised considering the way he finished that event. And indeed, Jarno Tanica taking the first place in this race. What a drive indeed. Phenomenal race. And credit to the two Red Bull boys. Certainly proving, especially after a very difficult qualifying session, turning it right around in the race.
Exactly. A double Red Bull podium. If only we can get to see that in real life as well. And even an Alpha being on the top step would just be tremendous. But it is going to be Jarno Opmeer taking that W home to his family and feed his children. Jarno Opmeer gets the race win. Simon Weigand gets P2. Josh gets the third step of the podium and the fastest lap to boot, with Joe there in P4, Tomek in P5, Andy P6, Lucas P7, Camille P8, Krusix P9, with Matthias rounding out the top 10. Rainbow getting best of the rest award with Alex Gillen in P12, Freeware P13, Iceman 14th, Overspeed 15th, and then to DNF is Seb and Beaker along with Bob. And now we know who the driver of the day is in game, but who's your driver of the day?
My personal driver of the day. I mean, I'm trying not to pick Jarno Opmeer. That would be a very biased choice, certainly given the fact that he won the race from start to finish. It's a tough one to call. I don't know.
I think it has to go, Josh, doesn't it? It has to. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I can't see past him. I think the game's got it right here. I think that P3 was a phenomenal result. Certainly, he started on 18th on the grid. 18th on the grid, finished P3. You know, how can you top that? That's phenomenal.
And that's the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix.